So today, we're diving into a character who has absolutely blown up online, Mo Dexian. We're going to break down his incredible journey from a man who is terrified of war to a true symbol of resilience. All right, let's get into it. And honestly, this quote right here, it's the perfect place to start. This is the key to his entire story. He's not some superhero, not a born warrior. No, he's just a regular guy. And that's exactly what makes his transformation so powerful and so real. So here's how we're going to look at his evolution. First, we'll see him as just an ordinary man. Then, we'll watch how his weakness becomes his armor. After that, we'll get into the incredible performance that made him feel so alive. And finally, we'll talk about why he really represents the spirit of the people. All right, so let's start at the beginning. An ordinary man. To really get where he ends up, you have to understand where he started. And for him, it all began with simple fear and just this deep, deep desire for a peaceful life. So this is our guy, Mo Dexian. And he's not just anyone. He's a level 8 factory fitter. That means he's a master craftsman, a guy who builds things with his hands. He wasn't looking for a war. In fact, he literally ran from it, just trying to find some quiet little place where he could keep his family safe. That was his whole world. And wow, the slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? The contrast is staggering. On the left, you see pure instinctual fear, a man cowering, trying to block out the sounds of war. Then you look at the right, and that's the same man charging into danger with nothing but the tool he uses for work. I mean, how on earth do you get from point A to point B? Well, that brings us right into our second section. Weakness becomes armor. Because the thing that sparked this unbelievable change, it wasn't some grand idea or patriotic slogan. Nope. It was something way more personal and way more powerful. This is it. This is the moment where everything flips. He makes a choice to draw the enemy soldier's attention, to save his family. And in that one terrifying moment, he's so scared he can't even speak, but he looks back at them and he forces a smile. And that smile, man, it's described as a smile that's harder to watch than crying. And that's so true because it's not a happy smile. It's a shield. It's him trying with everything he has to tell his family it's going to be okay, even when he's pretty sure it's not going to be okay for him. So here's the most important thing to get. His fear never really went away. It just changed. He stopped being afraid for himself and started being afraid for them. The idea of leaving them all alone, unprotected, that became a fear so much bigger than his own death. And that is what turned him into a fighter. Now, a character this complex, it needs a truly phenomenal performance to work. Which brings us to part 3, from actor to character. Let's talk about how the actor, Xiao Zhan, didn't just play Mo Dexian, he really became him. And what's so amazing here is the commitment to the tiny details. This isn't about looking good for the camera. We're talking about the chopped hair, the face covered in grime, the dirt permanently stuck under his fingernails. You can even see the strain in his knuckles when he's gripping that file. These are the little things that make you believe this man is real. And then there's this scene. A friend, a comrade, has just sacrificed himself in this huge explosion. And Mo Dexian's reaction? Nothing. He just stands there, perfectly still. His face is just this mask of blood and dust, and you can't read a thing. He's just in shock. But in that dead silence, something unbelievable happens. Just one single tear rolls down his face. That's all. No big dramatic breakdown, no screaming, just one tear. And that one tear was called 10,000 times more ruthless than sobbing. Why? Because it feels like the very last drop of humanity, the last bit of his old self, being squeezed out of a man who has seen too much. It was actually improvised by the actor, and it just captured everything perfectly. So all of this brings us to our final and maybe most important section, the spirit of the people. Why did this one character, this ordinary factory worker, connect with so many people on such a deep level? When he finally lets out this roar, you can see the veins in his neck. You can hear his voice cracking. This isn't some heroic battle cry. It's the raw, desperate math of survival. It's the sound of a man who's been pushed to the absolute edge and realizes this is the only equation that matters anymore. Which, of course, answers our big question, why is everyone online talking about him? It's clearly about more than just a character in a story. His journey has become a real cultural moment. I mean, you've probably seen it. On Douyin, you have all these intense, high-energy video edits celebrating his strength. Over on Xiaohongshu, people are doing these deep dive analyses on the look in his eyes, tracking the shift from fear to resolve. But what's underneath all of that is simple. He's relatable. He's us. He's what happens when a totally ordinary person gets pushed into an impossible situation and has no choice but to find the strength to fight back.
This quote from the actor himself just nails it. It perfectly captures the two sides of the character. His file, the tool he used to build things, to carve out a life for his family, becomes the very same tool he uses to defend that life. A tool of creation becomes a weapon of necessity.
And at the end of the day, that's the real takeaway here. Mo Dexian might seem like just one small part of a bigger story, but he's not. He represents that quiet, unassuming strength that you find in everyday people, the strength that forms the real backbone of a nation. He's just an ordinary man who, when it mattered most, became absolutely unbreakable.